Hello everyone, welcome back to video lecture on modeling examples using Verilog HDL. So in previous video we had gone through two topics related to this module, that is generic shift register and state machine modeling. Okay, so let me continue with the next topic, that is interacting state machines. So interacting state machines. Interacting state machines can be described as separate processes communicating via common signals. So there may be two or more processes which are controlled by common signals, or we can say a signal which is generated by one process is going to control the state transition of other process. So in such case we call such state machines as interacting state machines. Okay, so here we shall consider an example of two processes. One is process MP, which is related to microprocessor, and one more is process TX, which is related to transmitter. So we know that transmission of data takes place from transmitter to receiver. Here we shall go through how this transmission is initiated by the transmitter, by the microprocessor, by or through interacting state machines. Note that there are two control signals here. One is load underscore TX and one more is TX underscore busy. Okay, so this control signal load underscore TX is asserted by process MP, and the other control signal, that is TX underscore busy, is asserted by the process TX. So if the signal load underscore TX is 1, it indicates that microprocessor is sending data over the data bus to the transmitter. And if this signal, that is load underscore TX, is 0, then it means that data is not sent through the data bus. Okay. In the similar lines, if the control signal TX underscore busy is 0, then it indicates that the transmitter is ready to accept the data which is sent by the microprocessor. And if this signal, that is TX underscore busy, is 1, then it indicates that transmitter is busy and it cannot accept or receive further data which is sent by the microprocessor. Okay. So we shall consider a skeletal model for these two interacting machines. Okay, we are only interested with the state transitions that occur within these processes because of the control signal load underscore TX and TX underscore busy. Okay, so these are the processes. So we shall start with the modeling. We have the keyword module, then the module name interacting FSM. Okay, and IO list consists of clock. So there is only one input, that is clock. Then we have parameter M1, M2, M3 equal to 0, 1 and 3. So these are the states, M1, state M2 and state M3 of the process MP. And similarly we have one more parameters, that is T1 is equal to 0, T2 is equal to 1, T3 is equal to 2, T4 is equal to 3. So process TX is having 4 states, T1, T2, T3 and T4. So in order to hold the state information with respect to these two processes, we have two variables of type vector of size 2 bits each. So variable MP underscore state holds the state information for the process MP, and the variable TX underscore state holds the state information for the process TX. And we have two more signals, that is the control signals load underscore TX and TX underscore busy. Okay, so the next part of the code is always at negative edge of the clock we need to begin the process MP. So the process MP is made synchronized with the negative edge of the clock input, and there we have a case statement which is sensitive with respect to the variable MP underscore state. Okay, so that is the state of the process MP. The first state here is M1. So what happens here? So it is going to, whenever it is in state M1, it is going to make the load underscore TX signal as high, and there will be a state transition from M1 to M2. So the next thing is we need to model state M2. So here, if the control signal which is asserted by process Tx, that is Tx underscore busy, is 1, then there will be a state transition from M2 to M3 and load underscore Tx signal will be made 0. If Tx underscore busy is 0, then there will be no state transition and it remains in the same state M2. Okay. And next is state M3. Here, if this signal, that is Tx underscore busy is 0, then there will be a state transition from M3 to M1. Else, it remains in the same state. So this was with respect to process MP. Next, we have with respect to process Tx. So always at negative edge of the clock, you have to begin this process Tx. So even this process Tx is made synchronized with the negative edge of the clock input. And again here we have case statement, which is sensitive with respect to variable Tx underscore state. That is the state of the process Tx. So here first state is T1. So here if load underscore Tx, that is the signal load underscore Tx which is asserted by process MP is 1, then there will be a state transition from T1 to T2 and Tx busy signal will be made high. Else it remains in the same state, that is T1. Okay, that is if load underscore Tx is 0, there will be no state transition. It remains in the same initial state, that is T1. So the next state is T2. So there is no processing takes place here. So there will be a state transition to T3. And same thing with respect to state T3. Nothing to process here. So there will be a state transition from T3 to T4. In state T4, it is going to make the control signal Tx busy as 0 and there will be a state transition to T1. Okay. So that is how we are going to model these two interacting state machines, that is process MP and process Tx, using Verilog HDL. Okay. So for better understanding, let us go through the pictorial representation again. So what we saw till now is we had two processes, process MP and process Tx. So initially when the load underscore Tx, which is asserted by process MP, is 0, so it remains in the same state, that is T1 initial state only. Next, when there is a state transition from M1 to M2, load underscore Tx is made 1. So there will be a state transition from T1 to T2 in process Tx, making this control signal Tx underscore busy as high. Okay. When Tx underscore busy is not equal to 1, then it remains in the same state. Since there has been a state change from T1 to T2 causing Tx busy as high, so there will be a state transition from M2 to M3, causing this load underscore Tx signal to be 0. Okay, so there from M1 to M2 load underscore Tx was made as high. From M2 to M3 load underscore Tx is made 0 again. Okay, so next is when there is a state transition from M2 to M3, in case of process Tx there will be a state transition from T2 to T3 and T3 to T4. So all this is happening when Tx underscore busy is 1. So when Tx underscore busy is 1, what will be the state of process MP? It remains in the same state, that is M3. So when the process Tx has made change from T2 to T3 and T3 to T4, the process MP remains in the same state M3. Okay. Now when the process Tx makes a state transition from T4 to T1, it has made the control signal Tx busy as 0. So now there will be a state transition from M3 to M1 in case of process MP. So this is how these two processes are interacting. Okay, so now we have better understood. Yes. So next is we are going to consider the timing diagram for these two interacting processes. So here we are having the input clock signal, and for both the processes, that is process MP and process Tx, are made synchronized with the negative edge of the clock. So during the first clock signal, process MP is in M1 state, process Tx is in T1 state, and during the next negative edge of the clock there is a transition from M1 to M2, causing load underscore Tx signal as high, So whenever it is high, there will be a state transition from T1 to T2. This is going to take place with respect to negative edge, that is next negative edge of the clock. So when it has made transition from T1 to T2, it is going to make the Tx underscore busy as high. As a result, there will be a state transition from M2 to M3, which is going to take place at next negative edge of the clock input. So when this is in M3 state, there will be a state transition from T2 to T3, T3 to T4. That is what we have seen in the state machine model, correct? So next, when there is a state transition with respect to next negative edge of the clock from T4 to T1, Tx underscore busy is made low. So for the next negative edge of the clock, there will be a state transition from M3 to M1. So that is what we saw in the state machine model, and it repeats. Yes, so hope you have understood both the state machine model as well as interacting diagram. Yes, so let us continue with one more example for interacting state machines. Okay, so here we are going to consider two interacting processes. One is DIV, a clock divider process, and one more is RX, a receiver process. So what is happening here is the process DIV will generate a new clock signal, and the process RX is going to perform its state transitions with respect to negative edge of the new clock signal that is generated by clock divider. Okay. So here we are going to decrease the frequency of the input clock signal, and that is done by the process DIV, and the RX process, that is receiver process, is going to make state transition with respect to the new clock signal that is generated by the divider process. Okay. So these are the states for divider, that is process DIV, which is having three states D1, D2 and D3, and the control signal is new underscore clock. And we have one more process RX with two states R1 and R2. So let us model it using the Verilog. So we have module interacting underscore FSM2. So module is the keyword and the interacting FSM2 is the module name. IO we have only one, that is clock, so which is an input, and then we have parameter D1, D2, D3, which represents the states of process DIV, and parameter R1, R2, which represents the two states of process RX. In order to hold the state information, we require two more variables. So div underscore state, a vector of size 2 bits for holding the state information of process div, and rx underscore state is again a vector of size 2 bits for holding the state information of process rx, and then the signal new underscore clock, the control signal. Okay, so what does the next part of this code as? So we have an always at positive edge of the clock. So we need to begin the process div. So for the positive edge of the clock input signal, the process div will be initiated. Then we have a case statement which is sensitive with respect to variable div underscore state. That is the state of the process div. In this we have first state d1. So here there will be a state transition from d1 to d2, and the new underscore clock signal is 0 during this process. Okay. In case of second state, that is D2, the next state will be D3. So there will be no processing here. There will be simple state transition from D2 to D3. Then in state D3, the new clock signal will be set high, and there will be a state transition from D3 to D1. Okay. Next we need to model the process RX. So it is always at negative edge of the new clock. So we need to note here, so process RX is synchronized or made sensitive with respect to negative edge of the new clock signal that is generated by the process div. Okay, so here no processing is going to take place. So simply there will be a state transition for every negative edge of the new clock signal generated by process div. So that is what we have done there. Rx state is equal to R2 and Rx state is equal to R1. Okay. So what we need to know from this module is sequential block div generates a new clock signal as it goes through its sequence of states. So the state transitions d1 to d2, d2 to d3, d3 to d1 are generating a new clock signal the state transitions in process div are synchronized or going to occur with respect to positive edge of the input clock signal, and whereas the sequential block Rx is executed for every falling edge of the new clock signal. So the state transition in case of process Rx is going to take place during every falling edge of the new clock signal generated by the process div. Okay, so hope you have understood interacting state machines, right? So next let us go through the timing diagram or interaction diagram for these two processes. So here we are having input signal clock, and then we have div underscore state and Rx state. So this is for process div and process Rx, and this is the control signal new underscore clock. Okay, so div or process div is made synchronized with the positive edge of the input clock. So here we are having initially in state D1, and process Rx will be in the state R1. Okay, when it comes across next positive edge of the clock, there will be a state transition from D1 to D2. Okay, at that point of time, new underscore clock is 0. When it makes state transition from D2 to D3, yes, so again new underscore clock remains 0, but when it makes a state transition from D3 to D1 for next positive edge of the clock, a new clock signal will be made high. So when it remains in state D1, this will be high. Again, when there is a state transition from D1 to D2 during the next positive edge of the clock input, so this will become 0. It remains in 0 for next two states D2 and D3, and for next positive edge of the clock, again there will be a transition from D3 to D1. At that point of time, new clock signal will be made high, and it repeats, correct? So whereas with what we need to know with respect to process Rx is, so Rx is going to make state transition with respect to what? Negative edge of this new clock signal. So initially it will be in R1 unless it comes across negative edge of this new clock signal. At this point of time, there will be a state transition from R1 to R2. So next state transition from R2 to R1 again takes place at the next negative edge of the new clock signal. Okay, so hope you have understood this interaction diagram for interacting state machines. Okay, so that is the concept of interacting state machines, where we have seen two examples. One example with respect to process MP and process TX, and another example with respect to process div and process Rx. Okay, so let me continue with the next topic, that is modeling a Moore FSM, that is Moore finite state machine. How to model a Moore finite state machine. So with respect to Moore FSM, we need to know that the output depends only upon the current state. So it is dependent on current state of the state machine, and it is not dependent on the input. Okay, and this type of model, that is Moore FSM, can be modeled using Verilog by making use of case statement and always statement. Okay, so let us consider a state diagram of Moore machine, and simultaneously we shall go through the Verilog code for modeling a Moore FSM. So this would be the Verilog code. What we have? Keyword module name Moore FSM, IO list as A, clock and Z. So A, clock are the input signals, Z is the output signal. Then we have parameter ST0, ST1, ST2, ST3 equal to 0, 1, 2 and 3 respectively. So these would be the states of our Moore FSM, and then we have a variable Moore state for holding the state information, which is of vector type and size 2 bits, right? So what we can know from this is there are 4 states: state 0, state 1, state 2 and state 3, right? So next part says what? Always at negative edge of the clock. So always at the negative edge of the input clock signal. So it is synchronized with respect to negative edge of the input clock signal. We have a case statement which is sensitive to the variable Moore state. Okay, so in that first state is state 0. So in this, irrespective of the input, whenever it is in state 0, output will be equal to 1. And what is the use of input means it is going to decide what should be the state transition, whether it should be in the same state or there should be a state transition from one state to another state. So here in state 0, if A is equal to 1, then there will be a state transition to state 2, else it remains in the same state. Okay, so that was with respect to state 0. And what about state 1? So whenever it is in state 1, irrespective of the input, output will be equal to 0, z is equal to 0. Next, depending upon the input, if input A is 1, there will be a state transition to state 3 from state 1, else it remains in the same state, that is state 1. Done? So next is state 2. So whenever it is in state 2, irrespective of the input, output is 0, z is equal to 0. And if not of A, that is if A is equal to 0, then there will be a state transition from state 2 to state 1. Else, that is if input is 1, then there will be a state transition from state 2 to state 3. Okay, and remaining state and the final state is state 3. So here, irrespective of the input, output z is equal to 1, and if A is equal to 1, that is if input is equal to 1, there will be a state transition from state 3 to state 0. Else, that is if input is 0 in state 3, then it remains in the same state. Okay, so this is the example for Moore FSM. So here you have seen that the output of a Moore's finite state machine model depends only upon the state of the machine, and it doesn't depend upon the input. Inputs are used for deciding what should be the next state transition, right? So let us go through the final concept with respect to this module, that is modeling a Mealy FSM. Okay, so in case of Mealy FSM, the outputs not only depend upon the state of the machine, but it is also depending upon the input of the machine. Okay, so this Mealy finite state machine can also be modeled in the similar line as we modeled Moore FSM, that is by using a always statement and case statement. But in order to understand different techniques of modeling and also different way of usage of language, we shall make use of two always statements for modeling a Mealy FSM here. One always statement will be used for synchronized purpose, and another always statement will be used for combinational part. Okay, so this is the state transition table of the Mealy machine that we are going to model. So here what it indicates is these are the present states, ST0, ST1, ST2, ST3 in present state. Depending upon the input, whether it is 0 or 1, outputs will be generated and state transitions will be decided. Okay, if you look here, this is state transition 0. If current state is 0 and input is 0, then the output is 0 and there will be no state transition. If current state is 0 and input is 1, then output will be 1 and there will be a state transition from state 0 to state 3. Similarly, if the present state is 1 and input is 0, the output will be 1 and there will be no state transition. So it remains same, state 1. If the present state is 1 and input is 1, then the output becomes 0. That is equal to 0 and there will be a state transition from state 1 to state 0. So if present state is 2 and input is 0, then there will be no transition. It remains in the same state and output is 0. If present state is 2 and input is 1, then output is 1 and there will be a state transition from state 2 to state 1. And if the present state is 3, irrespective of input 0 or 1, output is 0 only. And if input is 0 in state 3, then there will be a state transition from state 3 to state 2. And if the input is 1 in state 3, then there will be a state transition from state 3 to state 1. That is what this transition table says. So we need to model this using Verilog code. How we shall see. So we will be starting with the keyword module. Then we have module name Mealy FSM, and IO list includes A, clock and Z, where A and clock are our inputs and Z is the output. And we have parameter ST0, ST1, ST2, ST3, which represents the 4 states of the Mealy machine which we are modeling. Then we have 2 more variables of type vector of size 2 bits, P underscore state and N underscore state, for holding the present state information and next state information. Okay, and next part of the code as always statement, always at negative edge of the clock. So this is the always statement that is taking care with synchronization. So it is synchronizing the operation of state machine model with respect to negative edge of the input clock signal. Okay, then at every negative edge of the input clock signal there will be a state transition, that is P state will be equal to next state. Done. And next we have one more always statement which is going to take care of combinational part, so which is made sensitive with respect to P state, that is present state, or the A, that is input. So this always statement is sensitive with respect to present state and the input A. So we have a case statement, so which is sensitive to P state, that is present state, in that ST0. So what it says, if A is equal to 1, if A is equal to 1, then Z is equal to 1. So if present state is 0 and input is 1, then Z will be, that is output will be equal to 1. And there will be a state transition, that is next state equal to ST3. Correct? Else what happens? It remains in the same state and output Z is equal to 0. Correct? So that is what modeled here. Okay. Next state is what? State 1. So in state 1, if A, that is if input is equal to 1, then output Z is equal to 0, and next state is equal to state 0, and else, that is if input is equal to 0, then output Z will be 1, there will be no state transition, right? So next we have state 2, if not of A, that is in state 2, if input is 0, then output is equal to 0, else, that is if input is 1, then the output Z is equal to 1, and next state is state 1. Okay, that is how we have modeled state 2. Next is state 3, begin Z is equal to 0. So here we see both are, in both conditions it is 0. So without checking the input 0 and 1, we can say Z is equal to 0, and when input is equal to 0, not of A, then next state is state 2, else, that is if input is 1, next state is state 1. Okay, so this is how we are going to model a Mealy finite state machine. Done. So what are the points we need to note with respect to Mealy finite state machine is that, so what must be added to the sensitive list? So when we consider always statement which is taking care of combinational part, we have added both the state, that is P state, as well as the input A. Yes, that should be taken care. Why? Because in case of Mealy state machine, output is dependent both on the present state as well as input. But this is not the case with respect to Moore model, because the output is dependent only on the state and not on input, correct, with respect to Moore model. So this was not required with respect to Moore's model, because Moore's finite state machine, the output is dependent only on the present state of the machine and not on the input. So there was no necessity for adding input to the sensitive list, whereas it is required in case of Mealy finite state machine, right? So that is what we need to understand. So by this we have completed all the concepts with respect to this module. Okay, and this is the reference. So the textbook by J. Bhaskar can be referred for additional information. So hope you have understood all the concepts. So thanks for watching. So we shall meet in the next video with one more new module. So till then, take care and goodbye.